period, the whole campaign process, I did not see a single Buddhist organization, okay, credible Buddhist organization, came up and said, let us organize a dialogue and have different parties come together and present the facts to us so we can make an informed decision. Now that I find is lacking in the Buddhist community. Right? Question is, why? Because I'm concerned here, you're taking facts, the word facts already, right? But couldn't you command the respect of a lot of people in the community, but no one organized it, any event like this?
Can I give an instant response? The challenge for everyone for anyone who wants to organize such an event is that the other side is not prepared to come. That is a challenge at this moment. But in the long run, I hope this term there will be more TV forum, there will be more radio forum, there will be more forum as such that both sides are prepared to engage in debate, engage in forum. I mean, we have this problem that over the last few years, unlike the Abdullah Badawi period, where there were a lot of forums, there were a lot of discussions, over the last 5 years, especially after Najib took over in 2009, practically forum disappeared on TV, discussions disappeared because you cannot find a counterpart.
Okay? Yeah. But I'm not sure whether if I can give you, because if we have not tried organizing, we don't know whether they will have come or not. Right? But in the previous election, I remember in the church in PJ, there was organized a dialogue between the two candidates, right, in St. Xavier's Church, if I'm not mistaken, in PJ. They came and they tried. My question is that we didn't try hard enough. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. Okay, I want to open up the question to the floor a little bit here because I see a hand coming up very constantly. So can I pass the mic? Do you want this mic here? Yes. Please introduce yourself, be precise, and tell me who you want to put the question to.
Fellow Malaysians, good evening. My name is Daya. I know you will never forget me ever because if you connect me with Daya Bumi, I am Daya without Bumi. It's nice knowing you. I hope you will remember me. I actually wanted to use the time before 9:30 because I wanted the only possible lawmaker elected by the people of this country who has had the courtesy to turn up here this evening to share his time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my contention as an intelligent, qualified, responsible Malaysian that change is inevitable. As a practicing and understanding Buddhist, this is a fact taught by my great teacher. And so it must apply in Cuba, in Malaysia. But the Buddha did not say that there were going to be tsunamis or earthquakes. That change was going to be instantaneous. Change can be progressive. It must be progressive. It must come in stages. And so if you look at pre-2008 and experience what happened 4 years ago, and if you expected an earthquake or a tsunami and did not get one, don't be disappointed.
I will.
Give me a minute.
No. What's your question?
Give me a minute. Okay? Now, the point is this. Change is gradual. Now, there are, I think, a point I want to make with the Member of Parliament, and with this. If we want to have change, there are two things I think we must have. One is independent bodies in the name of the Elections Commission and the Auditor General. As a member of the government, of the Parliament, can I ask that he does everything possible in the next 5 years to make sure that this comes a reality? Election Commission, answerable to Parliament. Auditor General to answerable to Parliament. And the second point is this, that gerrymandering is a crime that is committed in almost all democracies. Can we get rid of gerrymandering from day one? And then, when we get these two things done, we will get change. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a question to our only lawmaker here. We got the point.
I've been campaigning for the independence of the election commission. Not only the election commission should be placed under parliament, but it should also be what they call filled with former judges instead of former civil servants. Not that we have anything against former civil servants, but in the practice of Commonwealth countries, usually the election commissions are filled with members former judges were appointed to the election commission rather than former civil servants. Former civil servant, in the context of Malaysia, tends to be closer to the power that be. It may not have to be so, but there's that's a situation. Auditors General, yes, I agree. I guess if we are part of the new government, we would have done that. Had UBA happened on 5 days ago or 6 days ago, we probably would have done that. But again, this is something that we should do, whoever in power. We have Kisiang has come out today to urge the Prime Minister to implement sweeping democratization, especially to respect Parliament, to give parliamentary opposition leader ministerial rank, to provide Member of Parliament with assistant, with what they call officers and with researcher. These are not provided in this country. Member of Parliament get an allowance, and that's the only thing you get. We get about, I think about 12,000 ringgit a month, and you get nothing else from that amount. Apart from that amount, you have to hire. I used to hire 4 staff. You figure out how much it costs. We have to raise money, and those things shouldn't happen, because we should be given our officers, we should be given our assistant researcher, so that we can be effective Member of Parliament in order to check on the government. But we are not given those opportunity, and there's no select committee in the Parliament. There's no ministerial committee. In a functioning democracy, parliamentary committees are there to check on the government, and parliamentary committees are usually filled with members, backbenchers from the government and the opposition members, in order to also train future ministers. If we have, let's say for example, we have 7 or 8 ministerial committee or committees to scrutinize ministry, one committee can actually look at 2 or 3 ministries. We have too many ministries for information. But anyhow, let's say one committee look after 2 or 3 ministries. Then the members from both sides can be trained and can be asked to focus on certain policy area and eventually become an expert or semi-expert on those issues. And in the long run, you train your opposition to have expertise on policy, certain policy areas. You also train your backbencher to be future minister. Those are not done in our parliament. Our parliament gets about 82 million ringgit for 2013. 82 million ringgit for 2013. The Prime Minister's department gets 14 billion ringgit. If you know the difference. Agencies like Biro Tata Negara, which should be scrapped a long time ago, gets about the same amount as Parliament. So those are the issues that we have to deal with in the long run. Your questions about gerrymandering, not only gerrymandering means you draw the boundary as you wish. There is also another challenge that we are facing in the Malaysian electoral system, which you see very glaringly on 5th of May. That is malapportionment. That means you have, for example, my seat of Kluang, I have 85,000 voters. Nasri's seat of Padang Rengas has 23,000 voters. Putrajaya has about 12,000 voters, if I'm not wrong. The seat of Kappa has 100,000 voters. The seat of Kelang Patah, JP, all has about 100,000 voters. That misapportionment of voters is one of the sources where the government wins less than 50% of vote, yet actually has about 60% or 61% of seats, and this is something that we have to face with. So that is also another area where it needs urgent reform. There are so many areas that require long-term reform, long-term rethinking, but that is not done. I just want to give you another area of reform that is needed. For example, crime. I mean, we have complained about crime every day. If you read the paper, it's about crime. A 12-year-old girl was raped and killed. But why crime happened? Crime happened usually for two reasons. One, property crime happened because of inequality in the society, but also because people were not caught in the first instance, so they continue to commit crime. And why people were not caught at the first instance? Because the police are too focused on politicking and not on crime. We have enough number of police. We have 110,000 police, but 50,000 are on management and desk job. You have another 13,000 in the jungle. They used to fight the communists. I don't know what they are fighting now. Who they are fighting now? We have 9,000 police in the criminal investigation department. They are supposed to investigate crime, but we have another 6,000 police in the special branch. Special branch used to investigate the communists. They are now investigating DAP, PAS, and Kadalan, and Swaram perhaps. So, I mean, we have a systemic problem, and this is where I think all of us, when we face with a situation, we should ask ourselves, what are the systemic factors behind it? For example, like us, we are faced with a problem, but we should trace back and ask, what drive this, and what are the considerations of this government, and why are they involved in all this? Perhaps your answer is, at the end, corruption. Someone has pocketed some money, but how to change it? What are the future policy as far as investment is concerned? So those are the questions that I think everyone as a citizen should ask ourselves about, and also as a Buddhist, or as part of the Buddhist community, we should ask all these questions so that we deal with it sensibly, with less emotion. I mean, when it comes to election, everyone is emotional, but post-election, we'll have many years to go. Whether election happens in 2 years' time or 5 years' time, I guess it's good that we are less emotional. We are more. We learn more about facts, and we actually eventually we may come to the same conclusion, but we come to that conclusion with knowledge, with wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you.